Yeah, and just a little bit about my background first. 30 plus years in local workforce and economic development, across New York, Pennsylvania, California. And what really started me on this journey was economic contraction and economic loss and the associated churn in the labor market related to that. And when I started to take a look at recovering from that loss for the Long Beach community, and it was a huge manufacturer, well-known manufacturer, who lost a tier one military contract. So the thousands at the production plant and the supply chain for that industry giant was severely impacted. And when I thought about building back from an inclusive economic development standpoint, I realized there was a big part of our labor market and labor force who just weren't in the conversation at all. And it was the contingent worker. And when this discussion started for us in earnest around 2016, I think they made up about less than 25% of the labor market. And I think we're pushing on 40% nowadays. And these are people who are skilled. They're skilled labor. Um, and what I wanted to do is really shift the power dynamic for that contingent labor market by giving them genuine agency over their employment conditions. Not merely an increased sense of control, but actual economic agency that builds on their self-efficacy and independence and reinforces that they don't need to acquiesce to exploited labor. So what is something we could do that gave them real control over every dimension of their employment? You know, when they're available, how far they're willing to travel, how much advance notice do they need, those types of things. What's the minimum shift they're going to work? And just move them from being a passive recipient of whatever works becomes available into an architect of their economic success. And, I needed a dignified alternative to gig platforms that I learned really quickly were somewhat exploitive, offered substandard pay, inflexible scheduling, no pathway to advancement, all the things we've hit on a little bit. And I wanted it to happen in my community. I wanted workers to be able to select local opportunities, reducing their travel time cost stress, and keep all their economic activity or capture as much of it I could as rooted in the local community.